weeks it's more with his legs and running the ball and picking up first downs. But every week he's contributed throwing the football, throwing it accurately.
Michigan State on the road in Nebraska today. The Spartans a slight favorite in that one. Red Wing hockey today right here on 97-1 The Ticket. Wings in New Jersey. It's a 1 p.m. puck drop. Wings trying to get back on the winning track. College hoops last night. Weber State edging Central Michigan 78-76. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 9701theticket.com.
The following is a paid program. The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
The Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Harry Glantz.
Morning, Harv. How you doing today?
Fantastic, Harry. Great to see you here. Saturday, November 17th.
Always special.
Special week coming up. We got Thanksgiving. A lot to be thankful for. We'll be talking all about that this morning. Of course, mortgages and real estate for 1 hour. We got Janine Hillen from our office. Janine, how you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm wonderful.
Hi, Janine. How are you?
Janine, we won't tell anyone you were running a little late. That's your MO. That's okay. It's all good.
Oh, my God.
Janine,
I really wasn't. I'm here.
No.
I'm
So
here.
that's what
God willing, I'm here.
But that's what Jim said. Jim threw you under the bus this morning, but it's okay because this is how we break Jim in, Janine. You know how that is.
James Silver, of course,
I
from
love
Keller
James.
Williams. He's awesome. James, welcome to our show. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
All right, lots of experience here in the room. Again, if you want to call in, 248-539-9797. Always 1 hour mortgages and real estate. Brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We have a full staff all weekend long. Call 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283 and get that real approval letter. We'll talk all about that also this morning. Harry, again, a lot to be thankful for if you're in real estate and mortgages over the last, you say more than a year, maybe the last 7 years.
Well, I think that we're in the seventh year of a seller cycle. I think that, as everybody will tell you, business has been great. It's been brisk. A lot of buyers out there, multiple offers, but it seems that an inventory was way down. However, and James will tell us what's going on in the market today, but we're looking at right now going into the winter. And yes, people, we do live in southeastern Michigan. It is going to be cold out. People that have their homes on the market right now are serious about selling. They want to sell. You don't put your home on the market in the wintertime. It's going into late November. You're going to be on the market for November, December, January, February. People don't have their homes on the market if they're not serious about selling.
Correct. And what I'd like to tell people is that what are you going to wait for the spring so that you have a bunch of competition, with other homes. Right now, is a good time to sell. You can, the people are serious that are coming through. You're not going to have as many buyers checking through your home. You'll have less buyers, of course, but they will be more serious. Things are still selling. Now is a great time to put your home on the market.
If people are looking to move now, okay, it's a great opportunity because, like you said, there's going to be less, when you say lookers, people that are maybe thinking about it, they're really indecisive about it, they've got nothing to do on a Sunday but go to an open house. It doesn't happen in the colder weather like that. It happens for people that are really serious, Harvey and Janine, and we're seeing that. And I got to tell you something, we're very happy and we're pleased. The purchase market right now, it doesn't seem, at least for us, relative to the time of year that it is, has slowed down. Now, I know it has slowed down. There are people driving their car right now. What is this guy talking about? Of course it's slowed down. Yes, it's slowed down because the weather's gotten colder. People are in their schools already. People have moved to get their kids in the school district that they wanted. So those people are out of the market. But there are still people out there looking to purchase homes, and now is a fantastic time to buy a house. And you know what? We talk about the rate market. Mortgage rates, all right, people want to say that they've gone up. Well, while it's true they're off historic lows, okay, the last 50 years, we're still at an extremely low point in mortgage interest rates. But you know what? They're not going to go down to 3%. It's just not going to happen. We were saying that for the last 3 years. They're in the 5% range. And if it's a 15-year fix, you can still get well under 5%. So rates shouldn't matter. Okay, if you're serious about buying a house, like you said, now's a great time to buy the house.
Yeah, especially if you're serious about getting out there and get that strong approval letter. Hey, James, definitely some good news on the mortgage rate side. The lowest in a month, wouldn't you believe it? Not a big difference in the rate market, though. Your closing costs might have dropped a little bit. You never know. So if you have great credit scores, that's the key. Make sure when you're, if you're thinking about buying a house, get in front of those mortgage people ahead of time. We have that great software program, Janine. You know that credit expert we have where it'll tell us exactly what a client can do to move their credit scores up. It takes credit to move your credit scores up. So again, keeping those low balances on your credit card is really key. Now, of course, we got the holidays coming up, Harry, and people just can't get away from the fact that they're going to have to spend some money for gifts, and it's an expensive time and dinners and everything else that's going on. But, again, after that rolls around, when the credit card bills come in January, maybe that's the time to even look at a cash out refinance. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so here's what happens at this time of year every year, and I'm going to give my 27th and annual Don't Fall Asleep and Go Into a Lull during the holiday time. We're going to have that meeting again this Tuesday. If anybody wants to come there, just show up at our office. It's at 10 o'clock, and we're going to have it. What happens is, in the real world, around the holiday time, people stop thinking about doing business. They stop thinking about doing the right thing, and they check out mentally. It just happens. I mean, we're all human beings, and people go into holiday mode. So they put all the things on the back burner. They say, well, talk to me after the holidays. Well, you know what? Those credit card bills come rolling in. They come rolling in heavier during the holiday time and after. So you really should plan if you're gonna spend some money, if you're gonna take that trip, if you're gonna, you got to pay off student loans, you got to pay off any type of what we call, Harvey, toxic debt. Mm-hmm. You pay off the toxic debt. You really shouldn't suspend doing any type of business, and it translates into the home buying season as well. As a matter of fact, like we said, people are very, very serious about moving and selling. That's a great time to put in an offer. If you've got a house on the market now during the holiday time, people want to go ahead. They might have their last Thanksgiving dinner there, their last Christmas holiday there, but they're looking forward to moving. But nobody during the holiday time, Harvey, it just seems like there's a suspension of people psychologically of doing business, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it's definitely a great way to kick off the new year, maybe putting your family in a new property, right. Maybe even considering some debt consolidation. We'll talk about all those things. Again, James, the talk is the Fed continuously is talking about moving the Fed rates higher. Subsequently, we see the mortgage rates trickling up. Now, we also see that on the appreciation side. So when spring rolls around, your boss isn't guaranteed to give you a raise. But one thing that can happen is the rates could be higher, and maybe this spring will bring a little bit higher prices due to what we're going to have last year. The inventory is still going to be the same as it was this past summer. Do you agree?
Yes and no. For example, the beginning of this year, I would say for the first 6 months, I run a large team. Let me backtrack a little bit. So okay. I can kind of see the ins and outs and from a bunch of different people's perspective in the real estate industry, what's going on. But it was really hard for myself and agents on my team to get, our offers to stick. I mean, we were going in over list price, waiving inspections, waiving appraisals, still couldn't get offers to stick. I mean, if you didn't have cash, or a solid 20% down, I mean, you were just, getting looked over. Right now, it seems like the market has shifted, and stating that you can definitely get your offer through, probably get a better deal definitely than you could 6, 8, 10 months ago. And I would, if you're on the fence about buying, I would definitely work on getting pre-approved. Definitely get in the market and try to purchase something now, because the one thing we do know is we don't know what's going to happen, in the spring and what the market's going to bear.
I like that. What we do know is what we don't know. I like that. You see, flip that.
Well, that's a strong statement. If you really think about it, it's true. Right?
Yeah.
What we do know is that we don't know everything. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know where things are going. And that's why if there's a transaction that you want to enter into now, and it's fair for everybody involved, and it's an equitable transaction, and people are happy, and for your family's future, it's the right move. Why are you going to wait?
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, that's the point. Why are you going to wait?
248-539-9797. We take all your calls here. It's a little bit of the numbers. Conventional loans comprise about 70, almost 71% of the transactions closed last month. FHA still about 17%. VA ticked up to 11.2, and USDA loans, zero down USD loans. I can't believe it. That's under 1% of the volume out there in the mortgage world. That's a great loan for any family out there. Again, the northern part of Oakland County, northern part of Macomb, all of Washtenaw, basically, and all of the surrounding communities pretty much here in the Tri-County area have these loans that are available to them. There are income limits, but zero down opportunities using the United States Department of Agriculture. They call them rural development loans, and you need to call Capital Mortgage to find out more about them. The music says we're up against our first break. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back.
Detroit sports in Vegas. The Detroit Red Wings play the New Jersey Devils. Pre-game this afternoon at 12:40 on 97.1 The Ticket.
Because they want to make sure they run.
So much to say and so little time as always. Hey, welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We're broadcasting live here, of course, on Facebook Live, too. Always like our page and check us out, 248-539-9797. Definitely want to hear from you.
So, Harv, did you tell everybody we're going into our 19th year on the radio?
And Harry, I didn't. I'll let you mention it again. And, of course, we're excited to bring you another year or two.
Yeah, we were out for another 2 years, but the point is that it's really a consumer advocacy show, and we want to dispense very solid and strong advice. And that's why we call it the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. There's no question too tough. If we don't know the answer, we'll find it out for you. But we want to be objective and let you know that, sometimes you're entering into a good transaction, and sometimes the calls and the emails and the phone and everything that we get, the text, it's not a good transaction. We're not afraid to let people know that, hey, that transaction doesn't sound like a solid transaction. You need better representation in terms of, accounting professionals, legal professionals. We have a whole team assembled, real estate professionals, and, of course, lending professionals. So I would tell you we're happy to be going into our 19th year. It's a lot of fun. Harvey's really, really dedicated to doing the show. He's a great show host, and he's a good mortgage loan guy. Nobody puts together a better package than Harvey.
There you go.
And it's all about what you do.
That.
It's all about the preparation. And we talked about pre-approvals. It's so important to get a solid, bona fide pre-approval letter. I'm not talking about a pre-qualification letter. I'm talking about an underwriting approval. And that's what we do in our office. We will get you approved. And then all you have to do is bring us the purchase agreement and you're all done. And yes, it's that easy. If somebody provides their financial statements, their tax returns, their pay stubs, their bank account information, and we pull their credit and everything's there, it can be that easy. Now, we don't like the hidden ball tricks. I don't like the judgments, the tax liens, everything that goes along with it. And yes, you're going to have, as Ricky Ricardo would say, Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. When we ask for explanation letters, okay, we need to know. So it can be that easy. We do everything in our office. And I think the real estate community really appreciates the service that we bring and the actual bona fide mortgage pre-approval. So we're talking about the break a little bit. And I always like to ask all our realtor friends out there, appraisals are one of my main source of discussion points in our office. I mean, we have a solid appraisal staff that we use an appraisal management company. We don't own our own appraisal company. Capital Mortgage Funding does not own an appraisal company. So we use an appraisal management company. And from time to time, James, what will happen is an appraisal will come in low. It's inevitable. If you do so many transactions, an appraisal is going to come in low. And this week, and I jinxed it 2 weeks ago by saying appraisals were coming in great. And on certain properties that you can't get good comps for, sometimes the appraisal comes in a little bit low. So my question to you is I ask every realtor that sits in the chair you're sitting in, if you list a house and you listed a little bit above what the market is, and let's say you list a house, use a number, we use it on break, at 255. You really know it's a 235, 240 house. You get a full price offer at 255. Then we send the appraiser out there, and guess what? The house comes in at 235. Now the fun starts. What happens then?
Well, let me rewind. If I know going into a transaction, I'm your listing agent, I'm going to try to negotiate in, an appraisal waiver from that buyer because, I'm working on the seller's best interest. Maybe you negotiate in that the buyer needs to bring additional funds to closing if the appraisal comes in lower. I'm going to do my best to, definitely get that negotiated into the contract, especially knowing, something's going to appraise lower, up front. But if we get, a appraisal that comes in low, what we're going to do is basically, try to get, meeting of the minds, try to come to some middle ground and, try to, get that deal back in order and, move towards a closing.
James,
it's as simple as that.
Would you say that, I've always had the best results have always been when you bring it in the beginning of the transaction. When you put those terms right at the beginning of the transaction, so you say, look, we're not sure it's going to appraise out. I know you want the house. The basements are $75,000, $100,000 basements. the appraisals don't ever reflect that.
Correct.
So the families know they've already looked at a lot of houses. They're not going to lose a house over $10,000 or $20,000. So you can talk to them, talk to the agent. Are you into that where the selling agents and the listing agents are selling it? They're communicating that, look, my buyer's got some extra money here. If there's a shortfall, we're willing to make up the difference and move forward. Are you comfortable with that ahead of time?
Yes, and that is the best time to do it. No one likes surprises. No one likes to be blindsided. An appraisal coming in low, I mean, no one likes it. The realtors, loan officers, buyers, sellers, I mean, it's a bad situation for everyone. So, being upfront, with that, and knowing your numbers. I mean, just making up a number and throwing it out there and praying to the real estate gods it sells.
There you go.
But knowing where the true value is. Because when an appraiser is determining the value, we're figuring out the market value. So the market value may be different than what the actual value is on paper. So if someone's willing to pay more, let's say they're on a premium lot or all the recent comps aren't, and for a fact that it'll sell for more. I mean, you just need to be upfront and work that into the contract and do your best. And it'll create less problems in the future.
I think that's such a solid answer, okay, for many, many reasons. Mike Tomczak and Jackie Wilson are driving around. They're probably shaking their head in their car. They're such good appraisers. But when they have realtors like you to work with, okay, and we have Mike on this show. He's part of our regular our rotation in our show. He's going to tell you he can't take a $235,000 house and turn it into a $255,000 house. It's just not going to happen. And he's got rules and regulations and guidelines that he has to go by. And sometimes, like you said, you have to have a meeting of the minds and you have to make it a win for everybody. Once again, there's nothing wrong if somebody wants to overpay for a house, because over 30 years, if that's the school district you want to be in, if that's the area you want to be in, it's got all the conveniences and it's great for your family, I say do it. But I will also err on the other side and say everybody has to know what they're getting into. Just like you said, the buyers, the sellers, the agents, the lenders, and that's why we have these appraisers go out there and they do their best. I get accused in my office of erring on the side of the appraiser. Okay? What do you mean, Harry? I thought, wait, you're supposed to be on our side. You're supposed to be on our side. No, you know what side I'm on? I'm on the right side. If something is worth it, I'm willing to lend on it. Okay? I'm on everybody's side, but I'm also on the side of compliance and making sure things are accurate. So, I get killed. Some days Harvey will walk in my house and say, this is the worst appraisal I've ever seen. I go, well, maybe it's tied. Maybe it's tied
for the worst.
Maybe it's tied for the worst.
All right.
Because I've seen some pretty bad ones. But the good news is that we always try to get it right. And I think that the level-headed, concept of going in and trying to go ahead and negotiate and making sure everything works out for everybody, I think that's the way to go, rather than throwing everybody's hands up in the air and saying, hey, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
But you definitely do have to know your numbers up front to going in, know what you're working with.
Good answer.
All right, we're going to take all your calls here this morning also, 248-539-9797. James Silver from Keller Williams out in the Troy office. James, you got extensive knowledge. I know you've bought and sold and been involved with a lot of rental properties too. So I think it's worthy of a great conversation. There's families out there diversifying their portfolios. Some have had tremendous success at it. Again, everyone was going to be a landlord back in the early 2000s. Most of them lost their homes, and then smart guys like you were able to come up and sweep them up and buy all those bank-owned and foreclosures. And I know you've got extensive knowledge also on bank-owned properties and things of that nature. I haven't seen many of those lately. Could you comment a little bit about families out there trying to find a bargain in today's marketplace?
I mean, they're out there. I mean, obviously, there's less than there was. Our peak foreclosure market was 2010, 2011. I actually listed a lot of the homes. I worked with a bunch of different banks, home servicing companies. I actually, still have a HUD contract, list HUD homes. But, owning real estate, and having that cash flow coming in, I mean, there's nothing else like it. I mean, currently, I own 8 properties there in Ferndale. Never really have a problem, renting them out. I see people have the problems when they just kind of take, the first person that comes with the money and, tells them a story that sounds nice. But you need to pull a full credit report with a score. Make sure, they're paying, everyone on time. If they're not paying everyone on time, they're probably not going to pay you on time. You have to look at, the income, that's coming in, but looks like we're going to a break here.
We're going to go to a quick break. Tons of information to share with you. You got to tune to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. James Silver is going to come back and tell us all about if you want to buy some of these rental properties, maybe a second home and a whole lot more. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Alrighty, welcome back to the show, 9:45. If you're just joining us, again, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. Hey, don't worry, folks. We got sports coming up real soon at 10 o'clock. We got actually going to have some NBA action here. The Pistons taking on somebody at 12:30, so keep it here on 97.1 for the Pistons game. We got Michigan football at 3:30. That's right. Eyes are going to be glued against Penn State. So a lot of good stuff happening here. How about in local sports here? I always like to touch on that a little bit. Had some great ones last night. Of course, my own daughter, so we'll go West Bloomfield over Catholic Central in overtime. And then better yet, Farmington Hills Harrison. Boy, they're going to be one, and they're done after this. They went ahead and took out Country Day, and I think that game was in overtime also. So a little salute there to the Hawks and to the Lakers out. And there's a lot of good stuff. So a couple games today. You got Cass Tech versus Dearborn Fortson and some other games. So go check out your local sports. I love it. It's all about communities to me. Living in a community, working in the community or in the county, and it's just so much fun when you go out to even to these high school sports. I know you have a relative,
nephew.
Your nephew's out there. What was he at Fraser High School?
He was at Fraser. Yep, starting quarterback at Fraser High School.
Wow.
They did not make the playoffs. So
that's okay.
But he's a rock star.
All right, good enough. So, again, good luck out there to all the teams still in the playoffs and continued success to the winners. Keep up the good work. 248-539-9797. You want to talk mortgages and real estate? Of course, I'm Harvey Free and Lisa Lawson from Capital Mortgage Funding. We brought in Douglas Andrews from Keller Williams out at Lakeside. They got a new office starting up, so they'll have 3 powerhouse offices. Tons of great agents out there. Doug,
almost 400 agents now.
Almost 400 agents. Some of the greatest teams in Southeast Michigan. And again, find out someone if your personality matches with them. You can always interview several different people. And sometimes you're at the right office and you're even at the right team, but maybe just don't hit it off with that person. Well, then ask if they can maybe interview someone else in their team. That's always good.
You have to be comfortable. It's the biggest transaction of somebody's life.
We talked at the break a little bit about how you save transactions, because I get it come across my desk all the time, because when things have the word suck in them, I usually am the guy that puts it on my desk. And so somebody comes in and goes, XYZ mortgage company just really stinks. They suck. They're doing this or that. And my deal's going to go dead. No, it's not. Okay. You have to take a second look, a third look. And you brought it up earlier that it's not going to make a difference in a credit report within 45 days. The number of people that can take a look.
Ticket and CBS Sports Radio 1270. Your homes for the NFL on Westwood One. The Los Angeles Rams host the Kansas City Chiefs. Monday Night Football. Pregame at 7:30 on CBS Sports Radio 1270.
He's probably.
All righty, welcome back to the show. You guys don't follow radio protocol over here. What are you guys, mortgage people and real estate agents? I love
we
it.
don't do radio.
Yeah, we're sort of faking it here. It is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We brought
James has such good information about rental properties. And
really
you know,
cool.
the thing is, when we went to break, we were talking about the rental market. But see, here's the problem to me. Everybody thinks it's so easy to own rental properties. And it sounds good. You know, they're watching a lot of TV. They're watching a lot of infomercials and everything like that. But the reality is, when you have tenants and things break, who are they going to call?
I mean, you got to have some good staff.
Ghostbusters, right? Exactly.
You got to definitely have some good people in place, people you trust. You know, I actually was a landlord before I was a real estate agent broker, and that's how I got into the business. I felt, you know, I'm buying all these homes and doing all these things in real estate. I might as well get the commission. You know, I have people, you know, that are in place, simple text at night or, you know, a phone call. I'm going to get, you know, things resolved. So, you know, definitely having those people in place is going to make your life a lot easier.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is if you go into the home and, you know, do all the work and, you know, do all that deferred maintenance, you know, odds are you're not really going to have that many problems. So,
Right.
You know, I try to go in there and, you know, do all the work, do anything that I feel like might pose a problem, you know, in the future. If that hot water tank is, you know, rusty or rusting on the bottom, I'm going to change it. I'm not going to wait for it to blow out and
There you go, and cause
flood
more.
the
Yeah,
house.
right.
And tenants on vacation, they come back and there's 3 feet of water in the house.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversation we had at the break was, you know, like, and Harry missed out on it, I missed out. Maybe keeping that first home. Maybe some families that might have the opportunity to keep their starter home if they're financially savvy enough, if they qualify to, and they don't need the proceeds from the sale of that existing home. If they can keep it, it's a great way to start and maybe dip your toe into the rental community. You mentioned that also. I wrote this down. Also, maybe consider some of the college campuses. Great places for rental properties. Locally here,
Very
we've got
expensive.
very expensive if you're in Ann Arbor, but maybe affordable around the Oakland University area. I'm thinking Auburn Hills has been very affordable. Avondale schools make it pretty nice. And some of those surrounding areas. Also, the community colleges also, I think, are still worthy of taking a look at that. And maybe even the smaller colleges across, whether it be here in Michigan or anywhere in the United States. So you've had a good taste of that. Of course, you had some expertise and you bought and sold. You got some properties around the Woodward corridor.
Correct.
And we just see that's gangbusters. So definitely in those areas, you might not want to sell your house. You might want to hold it because you can get a pretty penny for it on the rent side.
And I tell a lot of my friends and, you know, people I work with, you know, obviously selling homes, to, if you can, try to keep that extra, you know, home. You know, get a mortgage, purchase another home. Eventually, you'll pay off that first home, and once you pay off that first home, that rent coming in will most likely pay your mortgage on, you know, your new home. So now you have someone else paying your mortgage, you know, for you. So
Also,
think about all that extra, you know, money, what you could do with it, you know, every month.
Right, and like we said, diversifying your own portfolios and having an opportunity to just spread some wealth around. Hey, purchasing homes. Is there like a Black Friday? We got the Black Friday coming up in the things, you know, for the kickoff of the home, purchasing of all the gifts and whatever families are going to be buying for the holiday season. But is there maybe this is instead of a Black Friday, maybe we have a Black Fall Winter of 2018 segueing into 2019 where there's an opportunity to pick up some of those homes that didn't sell over the summer, you know. And again, these sellers, if they've got the house listed, maybe there is a deal out there. Could you talk a little bit about maybe some of the properties that they're not as appealing for whatever reason? Maybe they haven't had that upgraded kitchen.
A lot of people, you know, they were looking at the market and, you know, thought that they could put whatever price they wanted to on a home, and just because it was a seller's market. And, you know, those homes didn't sell because pricing is key. I mean, you can ask for whatever you want, but if a buyer's not willing to pay it, then you're not going to get a sale. So some of these people, you know, that, you know, priced it too high are now coming down in prices. Now they're chasing the market. So it's actually, you know, it's worth less than if they had priced it right, you know, to begin with. Right now, it does seem like, you know, the I usually carry about 100 listings, myself and team at any given time. So I can kind of see, the trends, the amount of showings happening. And, I've noticed, since September, the showings have definitely been reduced by, honestly, probably about a third. I mean, you're still getting those buyers in. They're a little bit more serious buyers, but, knowing these facts, it's definitely, turning where the buyers are going to have the upper hand, when putting in an offer. And what that equates to is usually getting a better price, better terms, and, a better situation, when you purchase for, yourself and family.
All right, I'm going to throw this out there, 248-539-9797. I'm going to tell you, if you're a buyer, if you're thinking about purchasing a house, sit down with true professionals. It's still, in my opinion, the best results for anyone buying a house is having that great relationship with the mortgage banker, because then you've got your strong approval letter, and now you're working with confidence. Your agent's going to want to know that you've got all your ducks in a row. We're still seeing so many families, though, thinking they're going to wing it at the last minute. They're online searching for rates. They're chasing interest rates.
They're chasing a lot of things.
Those clients, when I talk to them 2, 3, 4 years later, they don't have the knowledge. They just don't have the knowledge.
Well, you guys are loan offers. If we're able to get someone, save them $20,000, what they would have paid, let's say 3-4 months ago for the same exact house, even though the interest rates are up a little bit, how much are they still saving? I mean, they're still saving, money.
Significant amount of money, right? Although the rates are up, the price might be down.
You know what the easy answer is? They're saving $20,000 to $30,000 because the price of the house went down. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I would tell you this, that I see so many people that come in unprepared. And when I say that, I don't mean that you just, like we talked about, you just don't know what you don't know until you sit down with somebody. But they can lie to their real estate agent. They can lie to their brother-in-law, but they can't lie to their mortgage person because we find out everything. Right. And we find out everything, and sometimes it's all good, and sometimes it's not so good. So we look for ways to make these transactions happen, and the way we do that is through disseminating accurate information. Right, Harvey? My favorite saying.
I like that one.
Accurate versus inaccurate information. So it has to be accurate information. You have to get us what you need, and then you'll get that approval letter. We want to approve loans. There is no bank, mortgage lender, credit union out there that doesn't want to approve loans. So get that out of everybody's head. Everybody wants to approve a loan. So what we need is the proper information to go ahead and get that loan approved.
Correct.
I like the clients that really feel like they've got their, they're grounded on the whole subject, and that the way you can move forward with some confidence. Educating themselves on the process, I think, is totally key. What mortgage will serve you best? I mean, you have to know that when you're sitting down with your mortgage, you're going to make an offer. You need to be able to present that approval letter and understand it. Often we come into families that they think they're all set and everything looks fine and dandy, only to find out they haven't filed their tax returns for 2 or 3 years, or that you've had that, or they have a tax lien,
or they don't know where it's at.
Or we see all that, or they have a major league tax lien that, and again, you're not going to be, if you owe the government, IRS, $25,000 and you're avoiding them, it's going to be a problem. So throw it out there. If you do have a tax lien with the IRS, you can make plans with them. You could call your CPA, your accountant. They can set up a payment plan for you. And once that payment plan is set up, the debt counts against you, but you still qualify for a mortgage and you're able to move forward. Again, having the plan versus not having the plan. You're a buyer if you have the plan, and you're not if you don't. So go ahead and sit down with the true professionals. They're going to give you all the information that you need. It's not always about the interest rate. If you're only talking interest rate, you're short-minded. You haven't opened up the whole door of what you need to know.
Correct.
And remember, the IRS doesn't call you. IRS doesn't make calls, all right? They put things in writing. So when you get that payment plan, you have to get it in writing, and it'll show what it is. And, again, on that same topic, don't fall for that scam. The IRS doesn't call you and say, send a check in.
Yeah, here, I'm glad you mentioned that. This time of year, we see a lot of that, James, as you can imagine.
Yes.
Were you gonna
I actually get the calls myself.
Are you getting them now?
The robo-calls from the guy that says that the IRS is going to...
And I'm going to get put in jail.
Right, yeah. So. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for the mass mailers and everything like that, everybody out there. Especially at this time of year. They're looking to get your money. Do not send in checks where you don't know where they're going.
IRS doesn't call you.
The IRS does not make outbound calls.
Well, the process is really interesting to buy a house. There's a lot of moving parts, as we say, and everything happens within a 30-day period. You get your offer accepted. Now we got an inspection. Then there's the appraisal, and title insurance is ordered, and you're shopping for home. Just that alone is a mouthful, and I got 10 or 20 more things I can add to that list. So it doesn't have to be a mystery. Get in front of the real professionals. Sit down with them. Get your educational base. keep building that book of information. You're going to have a great process. There's no doubt about that. Purchases don't have to be difficult, and they don't have to be these crazy psychological things. And people's emotions do get carried away.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's it.
You sound like you got one of
he's
those.
battered. Yes.
All right, just a little bit of guidance, again, can carry you a long way. 248-539-9797. When we go to our break, we'll come back. We got tons of information to share with you. Again, we're going to talk a little bit about all the different programs out there, learn a little bit about these different programs, conventional loan maybe versus an FHA loan. And we're going to talk a little bit about the renovation loans. 203K loans are great opportunities for families that are looking, obviously, to fix up the house. And we talk about some of these homes that are maybe just not as appealing as the other
like
ones.
let's say you don't like the kitchen. I mean, you can get one of these mortgages and you can do it what you want, and
make the house
if you
where you
don't
want
like the basement and you want to finish it, I mean, you could use one of these renovation loans to do that as well.
All right, some good stuff when we come back. It's 9:41. Keep it here on the Hardcore Mortgage Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Welcome back to the show, 9:30. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Check out our home buying seminars now every Saturday morning, 11 to 12 o'clock. You can call 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. Tell us you're coming in. We'll have the doors all ready for you. And again, we usually some beverages or whatever. We'll have some coffee, maybe some water and some donuts or something.
I'm not going to lie. Bring your own coffee.
Bring your own stuff. Okay.
Our coffee's not good.
You mean the Maxwell House isn't good
It's
anymore?
not good.
It was good in the 50s and 60s, and it's not good anymore. All right. Bring your own designer coffee for sure. Hey, we bring Doug Andrews in from Keller Williams Lakeside. Doug, you're always filled with knowledge. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about your classes, too, because you said, Harvey, you can come by the class. So as we're doing these home buying seminars and building everyone's knowledge bank, I think it's always about knowledge. This knowledge gives you the confidence. And the same thing goes on the real estate side. There's nothing wrong with being a new agent or even an old mortgage banker like me, 27 years. I have to learn something new every day.
I had this conversation with an agent of mine just in the car while I was waiting for you to pull in. And it's called The Shift, and I gave you a copy of it today, Harvey.
Yeah, thanks. I got the book here.
Gary Keller wrote this book, probably about 8-9 years ago when we were going through a terrible shifting time. This book is written for both upshifts and downshifts, and it really would apply to the mortgage people as well as real estate people. And if I tell you what, if you're in any business, I don't care if you're selling cars, boats, whatever it is, you're going to have shifts in your market. It's how to adapt to it, and it's a major shift in thinking, almost a paradigm, if you will, as we go through these different market changes. And again, I want to reiterate, this isn't going to be any type of a recession. It's a market checking itself. How can any of us complain? Seriously, in 5 years, most of the homes have gone up 50% in value.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? It's going to check itself a little bit. Everybody's got to keep their senses, understand that it's
more of a
still a great
correction,
time to buy.
honestly.
Interest rates are terrific.
Right.
The communities that we have. You said it at the break, we were talking about what a great value you get for your dollar here.
Yeah.
Lease, whenever
And listen to us anytime, anywhere. 97.1 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back to the show, 9:45. If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Yeah, we take your calls here live in the studio, 248-539-9797. Love to hear from you. Always at the office, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Keep it here. We got sports after us all day long. Red Wing hockey at 12:40. Paul Woods, Ken Kale going to start the broadcast at 12:40. Game starts at 1.
So, Harvey, Janine, James, I just got a text.
What does it say?
One of my friends said, "Yeah, I just got that IRS call last week."
Uh-oh.
Just got that IRS call last week. We know it's a scam. And even my 12-year-old nephew, Hayden, knows it's a scam because they got it at their house, too.
Yeah, you got to be careful out there. I always like the show, Harry, to remind people that be careful out there again, and remind your parents. You can always reach out. I'm always telling my kids, look, don't talk to strangers. Don't take these crazy calls. But the scams come out this time of year. And, just be careful with your money. Obviously, do the right thing for your family. Hey, we were going to dive into a little bit of the different loans that are available out there. Again, build your knowledge bank. Janine, as you know, we've been talking a lot about the MSHDA program. The MSHDA program is unbelievable for many families here in Michigan. MSHDA allows you, again, there's income limits. There's credit score. You have to have a 640 or above. Right now, there's $7,500 is the normal down payment assistance through MSHDA. But recently, the Step Forward program was selected zip codes across the state, all around the state of Michigan, and all the different counties. Lots of different zip codes. The state, and if you qualify for the MSHDA program, has $15,000 for you.
But, Harvey, there are ways that we can help people get their credit score up. I mean, I don't want people to think that you can't do a loan because you have a low credit score. Now, in my head, I always say, you know what? If you have a low credit score, you don't. It's not a right to get a mortgage. Okay, it's a privilege to get a mortgage, and you have to have solid credit to get it. But we can help you raise that credit score. And like I said, there are rules, there are guidelines, but we want to make sure that people are able to pay their bills. And you said it best earlier in the show. If somebody can't make their payment at a lower rate or a lower payment, how do you expect them to be able to make it at a higher rate or a higher payment? So common sense will tell you it's not going to happen that way. But we try to build people's credit history up, and we can help them. And I will tell you, don't pay somebody $500 to $1,000 to help you do that. We'll do it for free.
Yeah, you don't. You keep that money. You can use that sometimes even to pay off or negotiate old collection accounts that are lingering out there. Usually they'll take a lot less than what's out there. You just have to negotiate and put a plan together. A little bit of statistics here. 2017 till now, National Association of Realtors shows us that the national average home sale in the United States were 269,600, up about 4.5%. James, do you feel that way coming? I mean, I know the builders here, the permits have been pretty good here, pretty good flow of new construction across Southeast Michigan. We do see a lot of new projects out there, but still, we just had so many buyers, and there's no, we didn't see it coming, I guess. There were so many buyers. We never saw anything like that. Again, 27 years of mortgage banking. I never saw anything like it where there were 10 to 15 offers on every house, over asking, cash offers and everything like that.
Well, if you think about it, logically, I've sat down, and actually thought about this. Our peak foreclosure market was 2010, 2011 in our market. And, you guys are in the mortgage industry. It takes people, 7 years after they foreclose usually to get a mortgage? Correct.
Yeah, less on other programs, but yeah.
But the majority, so stating that would bring us into 2017, 2018, that you have all these extra buyers coming into our market, as well as all the buyers that would traditionally be in our market. So now you have a lot more demand without that supply, and that's, exactly, what I think personally happened, in our market here. Obviously, we were at a low, no one can say otherwise, but definitely all that shadow, I would call it kind of a shadow market, of buyers that were just waiting on the fence, because they let their home go and they couldn't get a mortgage, and as soon as they could get a mortgage, they went out there and did so.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, a lot of families now have, it's all behind them. And again, whatever the situation that was that called in, maybe just job loss, you could have been sick, could have been a million things. Whatever the situation that caused you to have some angst in your family or whatever your financial
house,
life.
I mean, you owed $240 and it was appraising at $40. So I mean, you're $200,000 upside down. I mean,
maybe you jazzed up and got the wrong mortgage several years ago. A lot of families took all that equity out of their house when the market was at the 2,000.
Well, the payment options, pay less than interest only, and principal and interest. You had payment options.
All that nonsense.
Well, I'm so glad we don't have to use that term upside down anymore.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Or underwater and all that kind of stuff. I used to say you were snorkeling. Some people are snorkeling. Some were scuba diving. They were so underwater. But, hey, let's move off to Rich in Detroit. Good morning, Rich. Welcome to our show.
Good morning, guys.
What's happening?
Okay, I had a question. Actually, I have two questions. First, I wanted to know, there are sellers who purchase their properties through something like a county auction, and they held on to them. They have quick claim deeds to them, but they never really went through the process of acquiring the warranty deeds to them,
okay,
which makes the sale a little bit different. And I want to know if a buyer is interested in one of those properties, and it's going to require waiting through the process to get the quiet title and all of that. Are you all able to lend on those type of properties?
Well, it happens to, that's a great question, and we do a comprehensive title search and check on that. So it has to be insured. The title has to be insured, clear title. There can be no liens or previous, actions taking place on that title to that property. And as long as we have clear title on that property, and James wants to talk about that too, because I'm sure he's had experience in that as well.
I'm actually very familiar with this question. I probably actually purchased, the last 7 years, 100 properties personally from actually the Oakland County tax auction. So you just have to know where to send that, purchase agreement when you do get it. To get that clear title, for the buyer. There's a few title companies in our area that I actually work with that specialize in these types of sales, because they were very prevalent, years back, and now they're coming to the market. But usually, we can get these done between $300 and $600, and we can usually close these in less than a month. So there's actually no hiccup, traditionally in the process, because usually buyers take about 30 to 45 days to close. So I've actually, personally closed, I would say, probably 50, 60 of these in the last, few years, just with, what you're asking here, purchase them,
good stuff.
at tax sale. So if you ever, need any help, selling a property like this, I am definitely very familiar with this.
Yeah, Rich, we'll get you set up, definitely with James Silver here.
Rich, you said you had another question, right?
Yes, well, one other question.
Sure.
So if the buyer does have, I noticed you said a while back that if there's charge-offs or something on the credit, that it's time to write the letters. If the buyer does have one of those charge-offs or whatever, how much longer, how much lengthier does that make the process, the process of going through getting the letters and everything?
Well, it depends when the charge-off occurred. It depends the disposition of it, and, if it's new or fresh, if it's older and it can be explained away. But if somebody's if it's been charged off, we need to take a look at the charge-off. We need to take a look at the explanation letter. We need to see how the whole transaction unfolded, what other issues are on the credit report, because if there's one charge-off, that there's probably more than... there's probably more than one. So we'd have to take a look at that.
The old ones are easy to explain away. It's those newer ones. It's a newer charge.
Well, it's not easy to explain away. There has to be some set of circumstances that would dictate that financial hardship. So we need to see we need to hear and see the whole process, and take a look at it, put it in front of us, and then go ahead and build a story around it and make sure that we have all our ducks in a row. So when we go ahead and we submit for a pre-approval to our underwriters, we run everything, our automated underwriting system first, and then actually have human beings on the right files as well. It has to make sense. The financial picture has to be better now than it was back when the charge-off occurred.
Got you. Okay, wait, can you all give the number where you can be reached?
Yeah, Rich, we'll follow up with you right after. Of course, 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. 1-800-LOW-RATE, Capital Mortgage Finance, where you'll find us all week long. James Silver, you're great to have on. I enjoyed talking with you a couple times on the phone. We'll definitely get you back on the air here.
I want to get him back on. He's so knowledgeable and he's so experienced. I want to get him back on the show in January because, as you know, we will do our predictions for 2019. And I'm interested in hearing in the next 6-7 weeks after he gathers all his data, what he comes up with for 2019.
All right, James, thanks a lot. Again, we'll get you back here. You're awesome. Check out James Silver's team, Keller Williams and Troy. He's got a great group there. Hey, that music says we've got to go. I think we got Pat Caputo coming up with sports. Again, lots of stuff here on 97.1 The Ticket. For Janine Hill, for Harry Glantz, I'm Harvey Freed. We
For
will
Hayden
see
Dean.
For everybody, we'll see you next.
Thank you.